Yo, it's Red Death. This is my little adventure into Mount Clemens, Michigan, where I grew up. This is going into a park called Shadyside over a bridge. This is Clinton River right here. Goes out to Lake St. Clair, which is part of the Great Lakes. This park used to be pretty rough back in the day. A lot of bad things going on in here. But I pretty much grew up over here. You know what I mean? Both my best friends are from here. This became my home when I was 17, so 1996. Before 96, I pretty much lived everywhere. You see the seagulls. Look at the river starting to turn ice. Before 96, I kind of lived all over southeastern Michigan. That's where I'm at currently. I'm about, I don't know, eight and a half, maybe a little over 8.5 miles to 8 Mile, which is the beginning of Detroit City. Just north, but we don't call it north here. This is still the east side. When I was a teenager, we used to blaze on top of that mug. Anyway, so yeah, it's this town I grew up on. Not a lot of white folks used to live over here. Now the city's been cleaned up over the years. There used to be Mount Clemens cops back in the day, in like the 90s, and they really didn't care what went on out here. The crime was worse. It was harder to take control, so they're kind of like Detroit cops. They kind of kept their distance from a lot of crime because they didn't want to get hurt, shot, or anything. But there's a basketball court. I played on there a few hundred times. Not many white people go on that court. Anyway, I was going to show you how I look right now, but I'm not going to. This is my point of view you're going to see for a while. Maybe once we're headed downtown, which is I'm probably about, I don't know, another mile to downtown. So it will be a little bit of a venture. I was trying to get one of my homies to come with me, but nobody wanted to do this walk. It's a little chilly today. It's about 34 degrees right now. That's the high today. But when the sun goes down, it's going to get chilly out here. So I'm not going to probably spend too much downtown. You're going to hear me cough and everything right now because I'm out in the cold. I have lung issues right now. I'm taking meds, and it's like clearing out the crap in my lungs. So if you hear me cough and stuff, that's the reason why. It's probably the meds. Right here, I fish a lot right here. I ran in the Clinton River. The Clinton River pretty much runs a lot through southern eastern Michigan, through the burbs. It's probably the most polluted river in the state of Michigan, unfortunately. Since it's so big. It's probably our Mississippi and southeastern, nowhere near as big, but it runs quite a long way. Here's a skate park. Yeah, they put a skate park in the middle of the hood. Well, it's kind of hood over here. Back in the day, a lot of shit goes down here. A lot of young cats hang out here. Back in the day, this neighborhood, there's a neighborhood right here, Shadyside Apartments, which is ghetto as hell. I don't know if they're projects, like they go by income. They might be. I don't know. I never asked anybody. But back in the day when there's a lot of crime, it was the Yellow Rocks. They pretty much took over this place. You know what I mean? And like this neighborhood's pretty much like, back in the day. I mean, it's not much difference. There's just no crime in the streets. Maybe something goes down here, but like half the neighborhood to be like young, older black folks, families, so there wasn't a lot of crime with them. Kind of like where one of my best friends lived on that side of Shadyside. It's like farther that way. We're gonna take this way. This is the bike path, kind of the path where I went over the bridge. It goes all to a place called Metro Beach. I'll get into that in a little bit, but we're taking this to near Gratiot. You might have heard about Gratiot. It's one of our famous cities in southeastern Michigan. Goes, through downtown Detroit. Goes through Detroit. Say anything about Detroit and here. This is probably the biggest city. Yeah, it is the biggest city right outside, east side of Detroit. Outside, we call it Metro Detroit, which is like the surrounding area of Detroit. It's not in Detroit, you know what I mean? So this is probably the biggest city on the east side. It's not really big. The city's really small town, but it's definitely city vibes. Like I said, it's rough. You know what I mean? There's a lot of goose crap. Yeah, Canadian goose. We're so close to Canada. Canada's kind of where I came from. Not came from, but that direction. So right now we'd be considering heading west. So anyway, about Detroit and southeastern Michigan, the way it is on a thumb, it's down in, let me see here if I can get my hand. It's like down in this area in the thumb, where the mitten. It's like down here, where Detroit and where I'm at, So it's in the corner of the bottom of the thumb, Not all the way to the bottom of the thumb, but maybe a little bit more than halfway. Anyway, the way, it runs on an angle like that. So we don't have a South Detroit. That stupid song is wrong, okay? There's Southwest Detroit. Nobody ever calls it South, you know what I mean? And there's East and West. Currently, I am north of Detroit on a compass. But it's still east side. It's the east. Nobody calls it north. It's the east side. We have a up north. That's out in the fucking sticks, okay? That's north of here. When you get up into the thumb, in the middle of the mitten, up in the mitten towards the UP, that's up north. That's woods and bears and all kind of stuff out there. It's like real wilderness, But anyway, so if you ever hear anybody in Michigan say up north, it's probably like the same thing as upstate New York, it's like forest and shit. But it's pretty much most of Michigan if you think about it till you get down here. All right, if you hear me pausing and you know what I mean, a little bit of silence, maybe just enjoy the view. Ain't no much view right now. I will be catching my breath because talking is going to take away my breath. The air is really cold and I have feeble lungs. My boys used to say they used to see some corpses down here back in the day. Speculation, maybe. You'll never know. Yeah, there's Shadyside neighborhood. My best friends grew up in, and I hung out a lot of times. It's not as rough as it used to be. Like I said, there's a lot of white folks that moved in now. Hasn't been rough in 20 plus years. Okay, we're about to head downtown Mount Clemens. If you know anything about Mount Clemens, it's one of the oldest cities in Michigan. Yeah, it is a city. It's just small time vibes in the middle of the burbs, kind of. And, they call it, Mount Clemens, we call it the Clem Town, or the Clem, which is, it leaked over to like the school's football helmets used to say the Clem on them. People used to say, oh, that's just your nickname. When I know that's what our city's been called too, it is a nickname, I like the guy that's in a bike path for the kids. There's the damn Canadian geese. So, anyway, I forgot what I was saying about that. Oh, but, there's a lot of people this city was kind of famous in a way. If you know Kid Rock and Uncle Cracker grew up down the street in the next city over, Harrison Township. So, boat country pretty much, farther east of this city, right next door pretty much. And he spent a lot of time here because he's so close. Him and Kid Rock. Kid Rock's technically from Romeo, not Detroit. Because Romeo's would be northeast from here. Northwest of here. Nobody calls it northwest. It would be up north. But Romeo is a country town. And Kid Rock used to spend a lot of his time DJing here. This is Gratiot Road. Sucker all the way that way to Detroit. But we're going this way. You kind of see downtown. Well, I'll show you more when we get there. But anyway, so Babe Ruth. This town's so old that Babe Ruth used to come here. We used to have the bathhouses, right, like the purest water around, like underneath the city and stuff, like mineral baths. I think they're still there. I'm not 100% sure. But we had like the cleanest water around, and so like famous people used to come back here and back in the 1800s. Like I said, it was founded in 1818, so I think that's when Babe Ruth was still playing baseball. So he used to come down here to the bathhouses, and stay in hotels. Probably had a game at Tiger Stadium, if it was called Tiger Stadium back then. I don't know. But I don't know if you know, what's his name? Dean Cain, the guy that played Superman back in the 90s in Lois and Lane, the original Lois and Lane. He's from here. I don't know. I've heard some bad things about that guy. I think he had some shit going on. But he might not be from here originally. He might have lived here for a while before he got famous. But I heard he's a racist. I'm not sure. But I'm like, how can you grow up here being racist? Because it's very interracial here. Like, this is a black neighborhood, Not many black folks anymore, but anyway, half Mount Clemens is black, and it's very interracial here, mixed crowd, which is good, There's not a lot of racism, so if you live here and you're racist, you're stupid. You should move more to the burbs, Not too many abandoned houses or anything here, like Detroit or anything. I mean, there was some abandoned houses. They tore a lot of them down. But wasn't a lot like Detroit. People always compare, in Michigan, outside of Detroit, everybody tries to compare other hoods to Detroit or Flint, because of the main cities in Michigan, that are ghetto. And I'm not just talking about downtown. I'm talking like the neighborhoods, the ghetto. So, people say, Mount Clemens is in Detroit. Well, Detroit isn't the only fucking hood in America or in Michigan. There's poor areas everywhere, you know what I mean? Michigan is a big, rich town, Rich state, I mean, look at us. We're way up north where it's cold. Canada's our neighbor, It's cold up here. Rich people don't like the cold. I don't like the cold, and I've lived here my whole life. Okay, this is Kibbe Street, and it's one of my best friends. Grew up on the corner all the way at the end, and there's a barber shop used to be right here, right around the corner right here, and it used to be pretty rough. There used to be cats hanging there. That white house is right here. Here, I'll zoom in. The barber shop was inside there. And a lot of cats used to hang out in front of that barber shop and cause mischief. That corner right there, it's pretty rough. My white ass wouldn't usually walk back down the street in the 90s. I knew some people, but, when I moved out here, or not moved out here, but when this became my home, I still meeting people, so I didn't know everybody quite yet. I mean, I had homies and shit, but I still wouldn't walk down. I mean, I'll walk down there now. There's a lot of white people. I think white people live in that fucking corner house now. Like, did they know it used to be hood over there? Like, I don't know how the volume is right now because I'm not talking too loud. I don't want everybody to hear me talking. Maybe once I get downtown, I'll speak a little bit louder because there'll be people. And I'm maybe the only YouTuber down there. Our city's got a lot of art just randomly placed everywhere now, which is, some of my friends think it's stupid, but I dig it, man. Gives the city some personality, you know what I mean? There's art in almost every major city in America. I mean, it's not a major city, it's a small city. But look at this windmill right here. It's a piece of art. You probably wouldn't know, but it's a piece of art. There'll be some art up here, but for you art lovers, I'm not a big art lovers. I'll make some art, but I don't know anything about art technically. Can make some art. And I'm like, like I said on one of my streams, I do like draw figures and superheroes, and or used to. And I used to do a little bit of graffiti writing, not with spray paint. It wasn't that good. Yeah, Shadyside's pretty of a big neighborhood. It almost goes downtown. See, let's see. I'll zoom in downtown for you. There's downtown. We got to get there. Up here is this light we're walking up to. This is Robertson and Gratiot. My other best friend was down this street. And he lived pretty much near this street forever. He's out to eat with the fam. He'd be with me right now, making this more entertaining for us, because he's got a personality like I do, but he's more intelligent to me. But I don't know if he watches. I know a lot of you guys that do watch already know this place. This is for people that don't know. You know what I mean? This is for the outsiders. Because there's a lot of people that don't know shit about Mount Clemens that are from Michigan. You know what I mean? They hang out with people that know from here, They're like, oh, I didn't know Mount Clemens was hood and shit. I'm like, it's not as bad as it used to be, but you know what I mean? It's not the safest city in America. In Michigan. America, too. It's just a small city. You can hear everybody bumping. This ain't the burbs out here. Not a lot of people have money. Poor folks. See, Shadyside back in the day, it was a lot of drugs, so there wasn't many white people walking through there just to walk through there, or hanging with their boys, or they went there to get drugs. So I was one of the only white people that would just walk through there all the time. That wasn't there to get drugs. I was there to hang out with my best friends. They're not white and shit. Well, one's mixed, but a little piece of art right there. Nothing exciting. And then to zoom in and be like, oh, look at that. Oh, look, a football. Probably the people that live here. I'm not going to snatch it up. I'm not going to carry around a football. I got to carry you guys around. Alright, well, at least we're getting away from Gratiot, the main road. So, it's a city, so it's slow around here. Everything's slow, just like any city. Like any city, you always got like main streets, church streets, first street, second street, shit like that. All the same here. Even small towns have that here. But we're about to walk on Main Street, which is right here, and go into downtown from there. I know this ain't very entertaining right now, but once we get downtown, I really want to show Shadyside Park and talk about the city a little bit more before I get there. I really want you guys to see Shadyside Park. I spent a lot of time there. Still kind of do, with a little fishing. I'm just trying to catch my breath, y'all. This is going to be a bit of a boring walk for a minute. There's some old school jam, my stuff. The 90s R&B.